I'm Emily Schultz, the author of The Blondes. You're listening to the 2026 remaster of The Blondes podcast.
New York, being an international city, was always preparing itself for this possibility, so it has been training all of its doctors, its health personnel, as well as its first responders. You need to have a fever to spread it. If you don't have a fever...
Discoverer poses a spectacular virus, one of the most lethal, and now out of control. We are not ready to close the airports. But how did it get to the urban area? Why has it spread to that
human virus. The blonde rabies.
This is New York.
Conversion disorder, mass psychogenic illness, or good old-fashioned hysteria. Maybe these women are just hungry.
Many in the city are on edge. The governor wants to reassure the public.
We are not ready to close the airports. She set fire to the yoga studio, locking everyone inside.
I'm Jennifer Lim, and this is Broad Strokes, an investigative podcast from Engagement Media. The flight was otherwise normal, and JFK Airport was quiet that weekday morning. The Delta flight originated in Toronto and lasted 1 hour and 10 minutes. On the flight were 3 names that would become famous. A blonde flight attendant known only as Patient B, a student named Hazel Hayes, and the first appearance of SHV. Siphonaptera human virus.
Disturbing news out of JFK this morning. An attack, or possibly multiple attacks, broke out among flight attendants at Terminal 2. One man is dead, and Courtney Ramirez is there talking with eyewitnesses. Hazel Hayes, who's returning to school at NYU, says she spoke with the alleged assailant just before the attack.
They were both on my flight. He was beside me, the guy who died. The flight attendant looked sick when she came by for the garbage. I don't know if they said anything to each other, but I saw them both in the terminal. She made this sound, this wheezing sound, before she attacked him, and then this other flight attendant joined in. I can't really talk right now. I have blood on me.
But she would talk. That young woman at the end of the news report was Hazel Hayes, and over the next 2 years, she would become central to the story of the blonde pandemic after the world heard the Hazel tapes, the evidence that helped thousands of women find justice.
Hello, is this recording? God, I think I've missed 2 iPhone releases while I've been in here. Okay, sorry, dumb joke. I don't care about those things anymore. I used to pretend to get through small talk. Phones, relationships, bands. Anyway, let me try again. Live from the basement of the Women's Entry and Evaluation Center. It's me, patient 031995-144. That's my birthday, followed by my Pantone number. Should I mention your name? I'm sorry, I'll stick to what you asked for. Describe the conditions in here. The we, as we call it, is an old public school. As far as I can tell, it was for a suburb that was never finished. So there's the school, a field, and an adult superstore near the off-ramp. That's all I remember from coming here. Now it's a quarantine. Clinics are on the first floor, the second floor of the dorms where they keep us, and the basketball gym is down the hall here. It's called Room 3, and we don't talk about Room 3.
For the first season of Broad Strokes, we'll look at how she ended up making these recordings and her journey from student to hero to problematic figure you don't really know how to feel about, so you make an uncomfortable face when friends mention her name. This documentary has been made possible by donations from our generous sponsor, Gleesumax.
I'm Michelle, and I'm an actress. When I was first diagnosed with SHV, I thought it was a death sentence. I never knew when a full outbreak could happen. Rip my children to pieces? I couldn't admit I was one of those women. So I was trying everything I read online. I even shaved all my hair off. But a friend told me about Gleesumax. Now I have my life back, and I get to keep my hair.
Mommy's not a monster anymore.
Thanks, Gleesumax.
Ask your doctor if Gleesumax is right for you. Serious side effects include seizures, bleeding in between periods, and liver damage. Less serious side effects include vaginal shutdown syndrome, nipple cratering, and compulsive scrapbooking. Patients who experience joint pain and mirror hallucinations of a shadow self should not use Gleesumax. Gleesumax is the only drug approved by the FDA for the treatment of SHV. Gleesumax, because it's your responsibility.
Sudden, random acts of violence, all perpetrated by blonde, cis women at first, then women with lightened or bleached hair.
They thought the woman whose hair they bleached was on drugs. When she attacked them with scissors,
threw the young girl onto the tracks, holding on all attempts to stop her. Blind rage and attacks. They thought the woman whose hair
Welcome there, shut all hair salons. She attacked them. News at 11.
She set fire to the yoga student.
The reports were sporadic for that first week, but like a wildfire, they grew into a crisis in New York City, Los Angeles, and Miami. At any place blonde women gathered. Those first women, as it turned out, were just the canaries in the coal mine. Hazel Hayes was then 24 years old. Originally from Canada, she had arrived in New York City that week to return to graduate school at New York University in the Department of Social and Cultural Analysis. Her thesis? We hate it when our friends become successful. Memes and psychogenic behavior in girl culture. As the illness worked its way through New York, from her flight into Brooklyn, to Park Slope food co-ops, to the Upper East Side salons, there was no better witness than Hazel Hayes.
I think we all have our where were you story when you knew something was happening. Before something is a hashtag, it's not even a cluster of events. It's just something happening to you. When I got out of the subway at Union Square, that's what it was, a feeling that I shouldn't be there. I thought because I didn't deserve to be there, and when I went down to transfer, the heat hit me like opening an oven. I had to sit down on the steps and lean onto my roller case. I was sick and I didn't know why. I may have even blacked out.
The next downtown local 6 train 2.
Then I heard girls screaming. I lifted my head and saw it was just girls in uniforms laughing, just making fun of each other. I started to stand when somebody ran past me, kicking me in the back. It was a blonde. She was dressed for work at an office, like she was running to catch the train, but there wasn't any train yet. She was running for the girls.
The next downtown local 6 train 2.
Know that scene in Jaws where Chief Brody sees the attack on the beach before everyone else, and he knows there's something going on? It was like that, but with the blonde lady instead of a shark. By then, the blonde had grabbed one of the girls and started tearing at her hair. She and the schoolgirl went over the edge onto the tracks. By the time I got over there, one guy was trying to help the girl back up. I leaned down too and took a hand, but the blonde came back and dragged her down, like the way a dog locks onto something that they're attacking. The train came, and they were both gone. When it collapsed onto the platform, I looked up. Everyone who had been filming her was now filming me.
The media moved faster than science. They named the phenomena blonde fury, gold fever, suicide blondes, or California rabies. While doctors at the CDC and the World Health Organization investigated, pundits blamed everything from Instagram to pop music.
In the new Shelby Brown video, the one-time Mouseketeer is now driving a bulldozer, naked, then having group sex with disabled soldiers on an American flag. It's a culture war, and no wonder women are lashing out.
Doctor, people want to know. People need to know what is causing these women to attack people.
We only have theories right now. Does hair melanin block the virus from reproducing? Is it using estrogen receptors to travel? If that's the case, we all have those. Every human, no matter their gender, could be at risk.
So this is going to turn men into women.
That is idiotic.
Well, that is incredibly rude.
You're not making any sense. That doesn't make
I'm
any
idiotic?
sense. Well, you're being idiotic.
That is incredibly rude.
Well, I don't mean to be rude. I'm actually
people in the scientific community often come in here and they lord their educations over other people. I am a journalist.
I am still
Madam, I am a journalist. It is my job to ask a simple question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How dare you? We're going to
No, I'm
commercial.
leaving.
In America's wealthiest cities, daily life was shutting down. Academy Award-winning actress Frida Wells was the first celebrity to come out and say she was infected with the virus, but was so far asymptomatic. She came forward, she claimed, to help remove the stigma of the disease. Critics noted that she also launched a wellness line at the same time. As Hayes would experience firsthand, the ways that life would change would not stop there.
Everything had gone wrong. The airport, the subway. It was even tough to be normal in front of my thesis advisor. She was the Wanda Kovacs, you know? The only gender studies professor to collaborate with both Sia and FK Twigs. Then there was the fact that I knew way more about her than she did about me. Personal things. How many times a day she flossed, her love of waxing, how many times a week she had sex, not many. I felt terrible to sit there, but have you ever tried to find a thesis advisor? It was like trying to pet a cobra with an ego. That she'd agreed to meet with me because of Carl was a big deal. When I sat down in her office, I told her I'd just seen 2 people die. She said, "Welcome to New York," in that psychopathic way that people do. But then I threw up in her recycling box. I told her I must have caught something on the plane. We rescheduled the meeting, but never had it. By that time, it was breaking out everywhere.
Hazel's journey in the early days of the outbreak was complicated by her personal life in a way that would make her situation even more dire.
Hazel Hayes recording 2. Should I mention the pregnancy? I don't know if that helps me get out of quarantine faster. It probably does. I'm not proud of what I did with Carl. I give in to heterosexuality like I give into the power menu at Taco Bell, drunkenly and on Friday nights. But being pregnant was not part of the plan. When I went to buy the Peace Stick, the Rite Aid was already sold out of brown and black hair dye. The story about what was happening was moving that fast. People were already making up truths to feel better, like, if you shave off your hair, the disease won't affect you. If anything, the pregnancy was a good distraction. When the tiny red plus sign formed, I thought, well, perfect. this is an emergency and someone will help. Like little first responders should run out of the pink cardboard box and position a ladder up into me. That's dramatic, but my mom was a single mother, and I knew deep inside that that was a horrible thing to be. Not that she was horrible. Okay, maybe a little bit. But it's that America loves pregnant women. It just hates mothers. The father, that's a weird word to throw out lightly. Okay, the totally unintentional DNA donor was not someone I was in a relationship with. Carl, he's Wanda Kovac's husband. He was also my teacher, too. I know how we're supposed to look at these relationships differently now, and I know how these things hurt women, but sometimes you want the power imbalance. Sometimes it's the thing that you like. I wanted to prove that I was worthy of his Oxford-educated attention. Yes, I know, poor girl psych 101. And my mom slept with Lane Staley from Alice in Chains for the same reason. Go for the lead singer in any situation. That's how I was raised. And as far as I know, Lane Staley was not my father. Okay, all that is to say, after meeting with Kovacs, I booked an appointment at Planned Parenthood, and I asked my friend Moira to go with me. Girls can't go to the bathroom alone, right? So we can't do the abortion alone either. The L was shut down from another attack. We tried to find our way into the city, but every subway was being guarded by soldiers. The only thing running was the ferry. We went to the top deck, but people started looking at me and Moira, and she told me to put my hoodie up. I asked why. She took a lock of my hair and said, because they're afraid of little white girls now. The first reports were already calling it the blonde rabies. I didn't connect it with myself yet. When you have the privilege of moving everywhere through the world, you can't imagine never not being able to. It was early still, but they thought brunettes and people of color weren't at risk for the virus, unless they had bleached hair, and Moira did not. I asked Moira if she was enjoying all this, and she said a bit, but it's getting scary. Once we got there, we saw the bodies. The clinic protesters were on the sidewalk, torn apart. The virus had hit some of the employees of the clinic, and they raged out. There was a man on a stretcher still clutching his sign, former fetus. I remember thinking, does the other side say current corpse? And I felt bad for thinking that, but not anymore. It's his fault for fucking with a woman's to-do list.
It was no ordinary day of clinic harassment that Hayes witnessed. It was a protest group of Reddit users, fans of the conspiracy podcaster Tim K. Rylander, who proposed that Planned Parenthood was trading fetal tissue to drug cartels in exchange for cocaine. The timing was fatal, and the families of those killed that day recently settled with Rylander's company. They each received a signed hat and a case of coconut water branded as survival serum. We'll be back after this word from Gleesumax.
And there's your soy latte.
So you know Golda?
Excuse me?
You're wearing your Golda band.
Company policy. It's so gross.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. The Golda band is the best early detection system for women at risk of SHV infection. Mine is cloud connected, so my location, temperature, heart rate, and boyfriend's porn watching history are uploaded to the specialists at Gleesumax 4 times a day.
I guess I do know Golda.
I know Golda too.
Temperature of 99 Fahrenheit. Please seek medical or law enforcement assistance immediately.
What do I do?
Temperature of 99
Would someone
Fahrenheit.
help
Please
me?
seek medical or law
I thought we
enforcement
all knew
assistance
Golda.
immediately.
Would one of you bitches help me?
Temperature
Help me!
99
Help me!
Fahrenheit. Please
Help
seek
me!
medical or law enforcement assistance immediately.
Golda bands are available free from most healthcare providers and state programs. The Golda band works best in conjunction with the prescription of Glucamax. Use of the Golda band signifies that you agree to the end user license agreement and data collection terms, which are available at glucamax.com/golda/terms/ this page doesn't really work.
That fall, doctors managed to isolate and name the virus, Siphonaptera human virus. The virus's closest relative was an illness common to sand fleas on California and Florida beaches. Scientists added the word human to show that it had jumped species, possibly because of overdevelopment on beachfront properties. While science found a grasp on the illness, society was confronted with a new profound fear of blonde women. Women with bleached hair began shaving theirs off, a practice soon picked up by those with natural hair. In either case, doctors called it a placebo at best. They did not understand how the virus and hair were related yet.
We had left New York. We hoped things would be less crazy outside the city, but it was actually worse. It was still the apocalypse, but now with the Kenny Chesney soundtrack. On the road, we hit traffic that was backed up. We stopped, and I remember diving out of the car to throw up. How natural is pregnancy when it causes your body to act like it's being poisoned? Maybe nature's never settled, never finished showing us who we are. By this time, Moira and a lot of other people were standing around their cars. We walked up to where the police had stopped, and we saw her. She's a blonde, Moira said. But she wasn't talking about the woman's hair color. She meant the disease. She had looked like the ones that I saw at the airport. Glassy eyes, this flat look to her face. Her Prius was parked across the lanes and her door was open. The state troopers were crouched around her with guns aimed. We all heard a baby crying from her car. The blonde looked over and snarled. And the cops stood up yelling at her, wearing their SM boots and sunglasses and looking like some 90s industrial band. Moira screamed at them. She got out because she doesn't want to hurt her baby. But it was too late. The cops fired and she went down on the asphalt wailing. Then she flattened. If you think I had a moment about motherhood then, you're right. But what I realized is the duty to protect a child extends in all directions. Even deciding not to bring a child into a life that's not ready for it. My life wasn't, and the world wasn't looking ready either. Then some woman who apparently never saw the Cindy Tattletale episode stood up from her car. She yelled that I had it too. She had seen me throw up. The cops turned around and looked at me. She kept screaming, "She's one of them too." That's when the cops started to walk towards me, hands on their guns. I remember thinking, why point the guns at me? Are men feeling as afraid as women now?
You've been listening to The Blondes, based on the novel by Emily Schultz. This episode was performed by Madeline Zima, Helen Hong, Dana Berger, Jenny Grace, Carson Elrod, and Bree Elrod. It was written by Brian J. Davis and Emily Schultz. It was directed by Jenny Grace. Duncan Birmingham was executive producer and Jenny Grace consulting producer. Music for the series was composed by Oldfather. Editing and sound design was by Brian J. Davis. The Blondes is now available from Picador Books.